Okay, all right, here we go. And hello, everyone, and welcome to PokeWorld Broadcast. I'm really happy that we could hold this year-end broadcast before Christmas, and I'm excited to have all our speakers and co-host Pacman with us today. And 2024 is a significant year for crypto industry. With the approval of a Bitcoin ETF. Well, okay, there's a new guest. Okay. With the approval of Bitcoin ETF, the Bitcoin halving event, and the growing acceptance of the crypto in America, and there have been major shifts, and Polkadot also undergone significant changes, including the complete cancellation of the slot auction and the launch of Core Time, the release of Jam Gray paper and OpenGov. A lot of dramas. So I think both the micro environment and the internal ecosystem shift have led us to the approach of 2025 with new expectations. I think for ordinary users, the most important thing for them is to seize opportunities during this period. That's why today we are here to discuss the alpha alpha opportunities in Polkadot ecosystem. Actually, the project we have invited today are also key reference points. When considering potential alpha opportunities. Of course, today's discussion is just our personal perspective, and we're not offering investment advice. When making your own investment decisions, please be responsible for your assets and conduct your own research. And our broadcast is live on YouTube and Twitter and X. And if listeners have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment, and we will make sure to respond very quickly. Without further ado, let's kick things off. Firstly, let's welcome all of our guests and briefly introduce yourself and your projects and just to say hi to the audience. I think first of all, let's welcome Pacman, the co-host of today, to briefly say hi to everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Cool.
I was just thinking when you were introducing the year, the 2024, I think there's a lot going on the whole year. I think we're going to need a whole week to talk about it. There is so much exciting updates. But yeah, we'll go through that in a detail. So my brief introduction, I run a marketing agency called Pacman Media. I'm the co-founder of Calyx Finance. I also work with quite a lot of other projects. And but I think people are not here for me, so let's talk about the main guys. Vivek, Richard, Gianluigi, and CBS. Should I call you CBS?
It's actually Chandra Bhushan Singh, but yeah, CBS is fine.
Okay, CBS.
Yeah, okay.
Let's hear from hear from you, CBS first. So tell us a little bit about yourself and your project.
Yeah, I mean, thank you so much for having me here. Very, very excited. More excited because of the fact that each and everyone here, be it Pacman, be it Polkadot, Excavate, or Calyx. I've worked with each and every one of them. They have been using Airlift since long. Even though I'm still trying to convert Gianluigi to use for a longer time, but for some reason, there is a hindrance. But yeah, so hi everyone. This is CBS here. I'm one of the co-founder at Airlift. I'm basically the team behind trying to build a substrate supported decentralized growth, loyalty, and onboarding platform. I have been into the Web3 space since last 2 to 3 years right now. I'm like pretty new, so but still it has been an excellent journey, working with each and every one of them. And yeah, I mean, if you have anything, we'll obviously be discussing in the coming times. Thank you so much.
Interesting. Let's hear from Richard. Richard's looking very nice and neat. I think he just got especially ready for this.
Richard's always ready, you know. I mean, like, I have been on multiple calls with Richard. I have seen him multiple times. He's always on the top of the line.
It's a filter, I assure you. I look terrible. No, you're very kind. So my name is Richard Holdsworth. For those that don't know, I'm the CTO and co-founder of Excavate. And we believe that real estate should be more accessible and affordable for everyone. And the way we do that is we're building this modular protocol that is secured by Polkadot, but allows us to sort of trustlessly tokenize real estate assets throughout its lifetime, from the initial sort of recording or registration of land assets through to the planning process, the construction process, and on to the finished properties. We're looking at the whole process to make sure it's about tokenizing assets, but reassuring people that everything can be provable, everything can be verifiable, and you're not having to trust this centralized entity at any stage.
Thank you. We'll go more detail into that just shortly after the introductions. Gianluigi, do you want to talk about, so I know that you're a Polkadot Blockchain Academy graduate, so do you want to talk about your background and a little bit about Calyx Finance as well?
Sure, of course. Actually, first of all, thanks for having me here. As I mentioned, I'm a CEO, a co-founder of Calyx Finance. Personally, I've been several years in crypto, Web3, like everyone. My background is mostly traditional finance. And yes, I've been in 2024, January of this year, coming from the Polkadot Blockchain Academy, where actually this project, the idea of this project came from and started. Calyx itself is a layer 1 blockchain that is built on Substrate technology, and is a project specifically designed for cross-chain DeFi lending and cross-chain interoperability. In a very simple terms, lend on one chain and borrow on another one. We use a very specific architecture to allow to achieve this. Essentially, Calyx works as a hub, as a central blockchain, that works as a central unified settlement layers. And then we have several vaults, liquidity vaults deployed on different blockchains where we maintain the native liquidity. And the core innovation is the fact that we allow cross-chain lending without asset movement. So no traditional bridging is required. We don't have wrapped tokens. And we maintain the native liquidity on each chain. So yeah, this is the main innovation that we're bringing, thanks to the Substrate technology, actually thanks to the Polkadot Blockchain Academy that gave us all the instruments to build the first MVP on the project.
Interesting. Vivek, let's hear about you and Polkadex as well, please.
Okay, thanks. Thanks for having me. Before I begin, I just want to make sure that if you hear a drum noise behind the scene, I'm in India with my parents, so a lot of carols going on outside. Just a little difficult to keep them out.
Is that Christmas celebrations or something different?
Yes, Christmas celebration. Just happens on the neighborhood, you know. Anyway, so very glad to be back, Pac-Man, in one of your shows. So I'm Vivek. I'm one of the co-founder at Polkadex OU. The core development team behind the Polkadex protocol. It's a decentralized app chain built on Substrate. Well, about my personal journey, I've been a tech entrepreneur for more than 20 years now. I had my own software business in India for over a decade, and then came across Bitcoin in 2013 and started off investing in the space, trying to improve some of the proposals, or put some of the proposals in other chains. Specifically, this problem that we're trying to solve at Polkadex is for try and give lock away the user funds on a centralized exchange in a blockchain without giving custody to the operator. So we've tried that in BitShares initially, and right now we've built the same solution on Substrate because we thought it's much more easier and easier to configure for this type of solution. So right now we have a non-custodial order book on Substrate and on the Polkadot tech stack. Basically, the primary goal is to have high-frequency trading off-chain computing environment, which can eventually replace centralized custody of user assets on spot exchanges. So that's what we're working on.
just for clarity, so is that something like Uniswap but with an order book?
It's a Uniswap with an order book, but also with high frequency trading, which means it's not always on chain, because on chain is a bit slower than, and I don't think the professional or traditional commerce can live with that kind of a delay on chain. So we're trying to make that off chain computing environment talk to this on chain layer and make it as fast as what you experience on our central. Yeah, that's the goal.
Thank you. Talking about introductions, Kristin, we've never actually had a proper introduction with any of the spaces. So we want to know who's Kristin, like what's your goal, what do you do? Let's hear from you as well a little bit. You're on mute. Yeah.
I mean, what a surprise. I'm Kristin. Actually joined enter into crypto industry in 2018, and as an investor, I just one of the invest manager in the top China top crypto industry funds, and then I just moved to jump into Polkadot industry, Polkadot ecosystem by chance. Then I was working in the same office as PokeWorld for 2 years. And then I want to try something new, and then I just moved my table from this and to that. Then I joined PokeWorld. And he's very happy that to work in the PokeWorld and to meet so many different peoples in this ecosystem. And personally, I'm mostly in charge of the research of the ecosystem, and I will try to find the best project and try to study it, and and share it to my team, and just learn together. Then I will try to reach out to the founders of the project to learn more about their project. So I conducted interviews a lot, and but any cooperations in the Polkadot ecosystem, you guys can reach out to me. You just can leave the message on our Twitter that I will get
So
your message.
basically, you can help with like fundraising and like reach out to Chinese community, which is great. But I also seen you've done a few live interviews with Gavin Wood as well. So tell us a little bit about how was that experience meeting Gavin and doing a few interviews.
Oh, that's very interesting, because I just get to know that Gavin is going to the Token 49 in Singapore, and I saw that I interviewed so many founders, and it's a great opportunity for me to interview Gavin. And Gavin is very actually, the first time Gavin went to China, it was PokeWorld that invite him to China. So we have keep in touch for so many years. So we just write email to him, and he just respond very quickly. And his schedule is very tight, and we don't expect for 1 or 2 hours interview. We just ask for about 20 minutes interview, and so we just prepared we really prepared for a just 20 minutes interview, but when he start to talk, it's more than 40 minutes, and it's really really interesting. I met Gavin Wood in person like 5 years ago, the first time he visited China, and now this time is face to face again. And before it's just an email. This time is a face to face again, and listen for him to describing the jam and everything. I feel very touched and encouraged, and I feel very proud working for the Polkadot. I feel very confident and for the future of a Polkadot, and really I feel like I'm just encouraged by this interview, And just during the interview, I just asked him, do you have any plans to visit China for your jam tour? And he just told me that, of course. And it's very funny. And then we just say, oh, we can arrange everything. It's just a fantastic experience for me and for PokerWorld.
Interesting. Well, let's talk about the topic that we have today. So, like, the year 2024 has been, like, a year of, like, so many wonders, so many exciting news, so many depressing news as well sometimes. Let's hear from everybody. Like, so when, like, end of last year, this time last year, you guys must have had like some sort of expectation from, like, next year, we'll see this, or we expect this sort of news. And then so how has it gone, from your expectations to, like, what you expected 2024 to be in crypto, and what's it been? Let's hear from you, Richard.
Thanks, Seth. So last year was actually a really good end to last year, because we were in Hong Kong. We just won a hackathon. So we were in, there was a Polkadot winter hackathon last year. We'd created what was awarded as the best DApp. We were runner-up, I think it was the best app chain at the time. So we didn't really have huge expectations prior to that, because it had been quite a difficult year in 2023. But that was a great way to end. But then we, like, fast forward, we were looking at the next year, and we wanted to achieve a huge amount in that year. So the beginning of the year, we managed to secure a W3F grant. So we managed to deliver on that. We went on to secure a decentralized futures grant, which allowed us to build out the 3 custom pallets within our chain. We went on to then build out the front end of the application, the marketplace, and then do several other things as a result. And then basically towards the end of this year, it's been a bit of a whirlwind. We've launched a crowd loan, a crowd fund, an equity-based crowd fund. And then, we've got lots of things planned for next year. So it's been very, very busy, very productive. I've been really lucky with my team. They've been incredibly patient. They've delivered when I've asked them to. And it's gone, it's been hard work, but we've actually built a really great product. And very excited about launching next year. We're looking to secure, I won't say too much about it yet. I'll allow other people to talk about next year, but it's lots going on, lots happening.
Interesting, but I think you just missed out on being a parachain. So I'll take Excavate will launch on like a roll-up on Polkadot.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Let's hear from you, CBS. How's the year been so far, and what's your expectation? Have your expectations been met?
Like on an overall scale, I think the expectations exceeded actually at Airlift, in the sense that we were able to figure out, like, 2024 was like a game-changing time for Airlift and its entire team, because we were able to figure out what exactly do we need to be providing in order to have a standout as a USP for the other projects. So with that, we started with Airlift X Solutions, which is basically providing an in-depth, customized and personalized onboarding platform for ecosystems and individual dApps per se. The responses has been really, really good, and we have had the chance to work with some very settled ecosystems, such as Moonbeam Network. We received like the DF grants this year, and then Ashtar Network, Sonium Blockchain, who have been using us. Overall, we were able to clock over over $1 million in revenue in 2024 now. And now the next part is for us to focus more on the investment side of things, where we want to spend the first quarter focusing on the raise part. But overall, along with constantly working with the teams that are available here, and like most of the parachains and individual dApps, I think 2024 has been really, really productive. That gave us a very set roadmap on what we want to do in a 2025. PS, it's going to be a interoperable loyalty system that we are now targeting, bridging more Web 2 to Web 3 projects to build or to use our tech system to manage their loyalty. But that's still in discussion. Yeah.
No, but for anybody listening, I have to like give it to you. I use Airlift for everything. I see you as CBS, that. Like, so for like the projects that we manage at our agency, for the investors, for like we currently have a giveaway campaign that's going on. It's one of the most easiest. Like I even find it, easier over one of your biggest competitors without mentioning names. But it's like I would for any project listening, I would highly recommend using Airlift because even like you don't even have to pay to start with. So you can have like a free version where you get to understand it, and if you see the value in it, then you can pay, and you can use like a paid subscription, which is one of the best things. Okay, let's hear from Gianluigi. I know what you're gonna say. It's been best year of your life because you met me. But
you did exactly.
How's the year been for you?
Yeah, no, actually, a really good question because this year was extremely intense. Was pretty intense, actually. You know that Calyx born as an idea in January of 2024 of this year, and somehow we went through all the possible growing pain that a startup actually suffers the first month, the first year. And it's, we had several challenges, related to creating traction, creating the product, getting a proper team, do business development, and it was pretty intense but successful. So actually, I'm pretty. The 2024 was a very positive year for Calyx, even if we are not live yet. And moreover, actually, I could say that, first of all, thanks to the decentralized future, we got a grant that helped us a lot to bootstrap the whole project. And second, we got a lot of traction also organically, actually, also thanks to Airlift. It was actually a really good contribution to the organic growth of our fan base. What's really important for us was especially that we got the last parachain slot, the auction number 81, and that one actually was pretty relevant, actually remarkable. After that, we started also to get more and more attention, especially for potential partners. We got a partnership with Mandala, with Stella Swap, with Hyperbridge, with Pendulum. Those are the most important. Then we had actually several ones. So I would say that overall it was pretty positive. Of course, not everything worked. Like we had the OpenGov proposal that didn't go through, but anyway, we had the support of some small retail investors that helped us actually to keep the ball rolling. And so, yeah, this is where we are now. In 2025, we look forward actually to release this project live and become a live official parachain of Polkadot.
Interesting. That's like a very nice sort of walkthrough of the whole year. If we lost you in between, I understand you might have internet connections, but
yes,
just to see how 2024 has been for you and what's the journey been for Polkadex.
Yeah, it's been quite a journey actually. So I was just because you said how we ended up last year and reflecting upon where you wanted to be this year. So when I look back, I think the same time last year was around the time we launched our order book live. And it was a pretty good closure to the last year, to be honest, because we started listing all the major projects in Polkadot, and we were successfully able to build our own, solution to actually bridge the substrate chains together, because we have a very complex architecture, as you know, like we have a solo chain and then a parachain. And there was no real mechanism to bridge these tokens up and down. But very, very happy that we could achieve that milestone in the early part of this year, and we were able to create that environment which we actually close to what we dreamt of, like to the kind of the trading speed that we wanted, and we experimented with the projects in Polkadot because that was the easiest accessible space available to us. Since then, I think it's been quite a challenging journey because now the next step of the roadmap was specifically to connect to Ethereum. That's where we faced significant challenges and roadblocks, and we were not able to completely fulfill that vision yet because of all the technological things that were not available at that time. And also other positives that I can think of would be the conversion of Polkadex governance to a DAO, because we started off with almost half of our treasury token supply in the treasury for future governance. So we switched to governance model from Q2 this year. It's again quite an achievement. That's the new thing that you deal with, especially the way decisions are made, and that was kind of a really a learning experience for me as well, because there were quite a few challenges in the beginning, and we also culminating in a team change eventually, and it took a couple of months for us to get used to that. And then even the community actually had, their own way of bringing together and forming a new council. And now I think we have a pretty stable council and pretty stable decision making. But it did take some time for the governance to actually get used to how things should move on. Yes, so right now we also have a new solution to the problem that we faced early this year, especially connecting to Ethereum, because that's been our biggest offer, ever since we started, because we wanted to really attract liquidity from other layer 1 chains and bridge that to, bring that junction point where you could have that spot liquidity available at high frequency speeds, and that's actually coming up. I think we have a new roadmap again, because we had to redo the roadmap because of the challenges in the beginning of the year, especially with the bridge system to Ethereum. So I think 2025 is going to be very exciting with the upcoming features that are planned ahead, especially for attracting regular users to start using the exchange.
Okay. And Christian, how's it been for you? What are you looking forward to in 2025?
I'm really looking for the launch of Jam. Really, I think it's gonna be a turning point for Polkadot. It's very, very fast, and I think it's time for us to show off to the crypto industry that what Polkadot is doing, and what we've been achieved. Because it's for the we've in China, and I think the first followers of Polkadot, are from Polkadot. We gathered the first bunch of followers of Polkadot, 5 or 6 years ago, but a lot of them switched their, one time there, and they all left Polkadot. But we still believe in Polkadot. I think it's really a great time to show off to the community that Polkadot is really do something that is valuable and really helpful for the developers and for the crypto industry.
Yeah, I share the same sentiment, because I think 2025 Polkadot is going to be really good. We're going to make a lot of noise. For those who don't know, actually, Pacman Media is going to be managing the Polkadot investorship, so we'll be in charge of all social media marketing for Polkadot, which is a huge achievement, but also gives me the chance to showcase what I've always wanted for Polkadot, for the community to know on board. So yeah, it's going to be exciting. So we talked about 2024, but the main thing is the American elections. The way we are going, obviously it has been a massive impact on crypto. But at the same time, crypto was specially made for decentralization, more power to the people. But then we have, American elections impacting the crypto market. Then we have MicroStrategy, which owns 439,000 Bitcoin, I think. It kind of takes away the purpose of decentralization. What does everybody think about that? Having to depend on who wins the election, and that determines the future of crypto. And then who holds the most Bitcoin and ultimately controls the market. Richard, what do you think?
My opinion is that it's multifaceted. So I think you can't really look at the ecosystem as one thing. There's many layers. There's many elements to it, and I think there's a huge reliance on cycles, the whole sort of 4-year thing. But that's more from a financial aspect. If you look at the underlying technology, that's progressing at a steady rate, especially within Polkadot. As Christian's alluded to, the road to Jam looks really positive. I think what I want to do is work with universities and help the wider ecosystem understand what's coming in terms of new technologies with regards to Web3, and then help the regulators to understand what's coming and how we can benefit from them without there being this sledgehammer to crack a nut, reaction. I think that's happened in the past, and I think America are softening a little bit. But from what I hear about some sort of regulatory things coming into next year, I don't think they're still going to be pushing quite hard with KYC and AML and things like that. So I think there's still going to be some shockwaves going through the ecosystem. But that's probably going to settle down over time. And what pleases me is that other parts of the world aren't necessarily following the sort of hard approach that America have once delivered. I think we've got Asia, we've got Dubai and sort of the Arab Emirate area that have taken a softer approach. We've got the UK, which has taken their own approach, but and then Europe have taken their own approach. So I think between everyone, we're going to settle down to a more an easier landscape to navigate, but it's still going to it'll take time. But I think the way that the technology is moving won't really be affected by all the regulatory stuff, and I think that's, for me, that's more pleasing than worrying about whether the price action of Bitcoin is going up or down. For me, that's not why I'm in the ecosystem. I'm in it for changing real world, dealing with real world problems through technology.
Gianluigi, what do you think?
No, actually, I mostly agree with what just Richard said. I will also add that in my opinion, every crypto and technologies rely on the market, and the market is highly it's very sensible to the sentiment that some group of people have on the market. So if at the end a politician come out and says he's pretty in favor of legalizing crypto or improving the regulation for crypto, of course this has an impact on the sentiment of population, and then it has an effect therefore on the market. And then we can see this kind of event as a catalyst for a bull run or some spikes and this doesn't only work in crypto but also in traditional finance. We see often that stocks and even there is still market at the end. I used to live in London, and I remember that London was considered really a bubble in real estate because everything was pretty pricey compared to real estate that were around. So it's strongly affected by the sentiment of people, and sentiment of people, of course, is affected by regulation and politics. So I really hope actually things are going to improve, especially in Europe, because in terms of regulation, we are pretty behind other countries, especially Asia, Hong Kong, Singapore. Also, I know that China, we were just discussing with Kristen that also China is moving pretty fast in terms of Bitcoin regulation, and Emirates. Of course, everyone who wants to build seriously is going to this, is going or offshore or is going in one of these countries or this continent. So I really hope things are gonna actually move quickly, pretty fast for Europe as well.
Yeah. CBS, what do you think? And do you think we would have gone the same direction if Donald Trump hasn't won the election?
I mean, there are two things which kind of is currently different when it comes to the adoption side of it. One is obviously the technology, and second is obviously the onboarding. But I had always liked to take a positive spin on things. Considering as to see what's currently happening with the regulation side. I do believe almost with the Donald Trump election, I think this has been turned out to be really into a positive sentiment at this point of time. But what I like the most is it has increased the adoption rate a lot more than what we had earlier back in 2022 or 23 at this point of time. Like the amount of coins a particular person holds, be it Web3 or be it Web2, it's the same. I am aware of a financial institution who holds almost like 11.3, like nearly 11.5 trillion in asset under management. I don't have to mention the name, but it has its AUM. If they feel like they have like with the majority stakes and things, they also have a control over it. And same goes with within the Web3 side also, like how people are adopting, like considering Dubai, right? Dubai, even though it had nothing to do with the elections at US, but still Dubai was made tax free. India right now, with the highest adoption, it has now wholeheartedly welcomed the crypto industry, even though the taxation is not clear yet. But what I believe is with this particular election step, people have started, the government agencies also have started taking seriously on what regulations do we have to enable in order to ensure the safety and security of each and every individual investor. So I like to take I like to think it on a positive side of it. I hope that makes sense, guys.
No, that's very true. Actually, it makes sense because if, for example, the one good thing I see about the elections and everything is created a lot of noise. So if we had, let's say, 100 users or 100 people that knew about Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies in general, now we have 200 or 300. The adoption rate and the overall knowledge has gone from being very low to like very high all of a sudden. A lot of people are kind of inclined to learn about Bitcoin technology. And one of the projects that I worked with, Mandala Chain, for example, they're bringing it on national level, like the whole country is coming on chain, which is really good. I mean, we wouldn't have seen that if one way or another, if America hadn't got involved and hadn't kind of attracted so much kind of attention from the community. Which is really great.
That's one of the key cornerstones, man, of why the election has been successful. So yeah, I'm like every day, now and then I get a call from my friends, who have been working in India but then moved to US and Europe, like guys, which is the one that we need to pick on, and I've been getting calls every day. So that's what the adoption is now, right? So
just make sure you're not giving any financial advice. Yeah.
NFA. Hashtag NFA.
Yeah. Vivek, what do you think? What's your take on it?
Yeah, it's an interesting question because I would like to really look at it from a very like a 10,000 feet view. And if you ask me whether these the elections and the markets and the changes and the fluctuations are affecting the original vision of the crypto for the people, I would say that if you look back at the real reason why Bitcoin was created, right? I think the objective is already achieved because you already have free, open, permissionless money in play. The internet of money is already created. So there is no going back from here, right? So all of the rest of the things are really the the visionaries and the geniuses, like probably like Vitalik and Gavin, all of these people are what they're trying to build is probably how now we can use this technology to build or solve other problems that the society is facing, right? So the entire Web3 stack, to be honest, is built on top of this technology, right? So the kind of products that you're going to see would be extremely, interesting. And it started with Ethereum again, and now we have, Polkadot with this new scaling idea. So I think the markets and the overall, especially the money markets, generally cloud your long-term vision, be it up or be it down. I think it's more important to know where the direction is. That I think is the most important thing. And from a progress perspective, we made tremendous progress, I think, and it shows definitely with the adoption from countries that used to ban Bitcoins are now trying to create products, financial products on top of it, and so adoption is now easier. And people who used to frown upon, doing research in this field is now finding it as the most cutting edge. So there's a large acceptance in the society on what this technology really is, compared to the awakened audience that used to have, when people like the earlier visionaries used to speak about it. There used to be a talk by Andreas Antonopoulos. I don't know how many of you know about him. He gave a speech in Canadian Parliament, and there was nobody to listen to him, to be honest. So we've come a long way. Now we're talking about ETFs, and the markets definitely will attract a lot of commercial money. Obviously, now it's opening doors with the ETF, and there's huge interest around the world, simply because there's money to be made. So obviously capital markets are going to open up to this new technology, and a combination of AI. I think there's a lot of people working on very interesting stuff. So if you ask me, Pacman, like whether I'm optimistic, I'm extremely optimistic about the space. No question about it.
Yeah, Christian, what do you think? So China has always been, in and off the news. Like at one point they banned the Bitcoin and everything, and then they unbanned it and they banned. So what do you think, like in terms of regulations, the future of not just Bitcoin? I'm talking about like crypto in general. What do you think the future looks like in China in terms of regulations and their government, and would the government ever acknowledge something like that on a national level?
Actually, I'm very optimistic towards China's attitude to the crypto industry. The very sound signal for that is the opening of Hong Kong, for the crypto industry. China China government, they don't wanna take risk. They will try first, so they take Hong Kong as a place to try, and if everything works out, I think they won't. They want to take the risk to miss the opportunities that crypto industry could offer to China economy. But I think that, and also I mentioned before, previously in our broadcast, which is I think China is very open actually, and very smart. They won't be too to stick to something that won't change it forever. For example, for the epidemic, period, and every place in the world have a don't have a how to say that, every place in the world except China, they start the business and start everything in life regularly, but China still keep shut down everything. But people are very angry about that. Then China government knows that. Then they changed their policy. So I think China is very open actually, and they just want to take risk. So I feel very optimistic to the government's attitude towards the crypto industry. And the third one is that I live in China for all by my life, and during the restriction period of China towards the crypto industry, it is true that some of people even went to jail, during this period. But for me, I am work in the crypto industry as a regular, working people, just go to work every day, and I feel very safe. I never feel that I will take from my. I will have a risk to go to jail or to to ask questions by the police or something. Personally, for me, maybe I don't work for any projects that they are issue their tokens and they're doing something bad or have bad reputations. I think I just normal workers in crypto, and I feel always safe and I don't feel like so dangerous or something as described outside of China.
Yeah.
So personally, I think it's just a matter of time that China will welcome the crypto in mainland China.
Do you think like this time next year, again, when we do our annual podcast, do you think you'll be sitting in the president house saying, hey, look, everybody, he's just bought a Bitcoin in president's house?
It's hard to say. I think 4 years ago, the president of China speak in public that he think that Bitcoin is a great product of blockchain industry. The Bitcoin price went up 40% during one day.
Wow.
Then went down. I think crypto industry for the technology part is very good, but China they just want to be responsible for their citizens, because a lot of scammers, they try to blackmail the normal citizens by any kind of stuff. Once the president say that Bitcoin is a good stuff, then people will trust it, and will trust it before really knowing it. So that gives a room for the scammers or bad peoples. So that's why I think China will take something slowly and
So I think like last couple of years, it's mostly the time of building, for example, projects like Calyx and, Polkadot and Excavate. So a lot of teams have been building, and now I see this all the time on social media that projects are launching in Q1 2025. I think we're going to see a new swarm of people. So it's not just like a recycled existing Web3 community, but it's actually project like Excavate, for example. I really like that Excavate is actually regulated by FCA. FCA is basically Financial Conduct Authority in the UK. It's a bit like similar to what SEC is in the USA. So to see a project actually regulated by, a regulatory firm in the UK, which is like one of the world's biggest economy, is really good. That gives, like Kristen said, how if the president talks about Bitcoin, people automatically trust it. If Excavate is, regulated by FCA, people naturally just trust it because they know there is safe hands. So there will be like a lot of new projects coming, which, have their own sort of features and a lot of things that we haven't seen before. So Richard, what do you think of the Q1 2025? Like, the new projects coming, including your own projects. Do you think like we will see like a mass number of people that haven't been into crypto before or don't know blockchain enough? Do you think we'll see a lot of people joining the Web3 industry just looking at these projects?
Yes, is my sort of quick answer. However, I think what will be exciting, and I think what's going to happen in 2025, is there'll be an abstraction of Web3. So from a user perspective, you won't even know you're dealing with Web3, but under the hood, everything happens in a secure manner. Everything's verifiable, everything's provable, which will give people a lot more confidence. And the challenge, I think, is dealing with regulators in a way that is collaborative. It's quite alien for a lot of projects because traditionally regulators have been quite combative. But our approach in the UK was about how can we work with the regulators to educate them on what we're doing and how it differs from the scam artists out there. I mean, there's still a lot of projects out there that are sort of working on the periphery or creating tokens with no value. There's no community. They're just pump and dump, and I think that's really harmed the industry. But what I love about Polkadot, especially, is we are a community where we try and hunt out those kinds of projects and remove them from our community and our ecosystem if we can, or at least sort of dampen down their ability to thrive, which I think gives a lot of people confidence, especially those that know about Web3, that Polkadot is a great place to build and it's a great place to find new projects. So I think 2025 is going to be exciting from a build perspective because the technology's moved on and will allow us to be a lot more interoperable within the Polkadot ecosystem, therefore stand out a lot more. It's always been that promise in the background, and there's a few projects that have delivered, but I think there's going to be this tsunami in 2025 where we'll get a lot more smaller projects and some bigger ones that are delivering on this promise of interoperability that then gives much greater added value than other ecosystems or just generic sort of Bitcoin or Ethereum projects.
Yeah. Gianluigi, what do you think? So in terms of like your DeFi project, our DeFi project. So like self-repaying loans, for example, and all the features that other DeFi projects don't offer. Where do you think we will see the mass number of users coming in? Would it be like new community or existing people? They've had like DeFi experience and they want to just kind of enhance their experience?
No, you know what? I can reply to this question a bit in a bit broader way, saying that I think, we all here think that Polkadot will be a success. We are all Polkadot maximalists because we really strongly believe in the technology. But besides that, we need to consider how technology in the past got into society. If we check 2000, when it was the real dot-com bubble, no Web2 company were on internet. Actually, internet started really to get into mass society around 2000. And then all businesses moved to internet. Then it was the time of finance, of fintech. There was one point where most of the Web2 companies started to have their own payment system, integrated payment system. And that will happen also with Web3. So most of Web2 companies will slowly move to Web3, but in a transparent way. So many people, as Richard said, many people will use Web3 without even knowing it. In terms of project like Calyx, consider, our project is strictly working in a non-custodial way. It's a DeFi project, and it is where actually the most of the friction come out, because the financial technology probably is the slowest to get regulated and the slowest to get innovated. It is somehow a benefit because there is a huge space for innovation, and a project like Calyx eventually, for how I say it, will see an integration with traditional finance. Actually, this is part of the vision of Calyx, to offer lending services that works on Web3 to Web2 users or traditional financial users, because this is where we can build a real USP, a real unique selling proposition. And it is something also, sorry, Richard, I keep mentioning you, Excavate is doing, because they are bringing Web3 with Web2. We're bringing Web3 value to traditional finance, to real estate. And this is, anyway, in my vision, the aim that every Web3 project needs to have if it wants actually to achieve a real success. It's not just as I said, a project that lives on its own bubble, on its own token, on its own community, because all these projects are doomed to end at one point.
Yeah. CBS, I think your airlift model kind of indirectly depends on other projects' success in a way, because the projects need to have like an active community, active ambassadors, and things like that. So how do you think like your growth is impacted, or how do you think you will have your own community, or like a mass number of users for Airlift point of view? You're on mute.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, I mean, like, the growth is obviously very positive. Like, considering to what it was back in 2024, at the very early, I think there was like 7 to 10% of what new projects were hosting campaigns on Airlift. Like, when I say new projects, it's about people who have just started there and they are just on the testnet launches. They are about to go. They have not launched their tokens and so. But that has considerably increased to like nearly 24% at this point of time, wherein we have seen a lot of new users, especially from India and from South Korea and Singapore, have been participating and creating campaigns here. Now, another point of why I believe that 2025 is going to be the year of the builders is because like, I was reading an article like, I think couple days back. Within the last 30 days, the investment analytics shows a total funding of nearly over 3.5 billion USD just in the crypto sectors right now, and over 270 projects were funded just in the last 30 days. That itself gives a very positive remark on the rate at which the new projects are coming in exponentially at this point of time. And we are still in a phase wherein most of the investment firms right now have a closed or a very conservative investment plan, basically. Lastly, another reason why I believe it so hard that Polkadot is going to be one of the hub. I was in the IBW event that was done by the Hashed Emergent in Bangalore, earlier this month. Um, at least, like, from the students, at least I had repetitively answered like 15 or 20 times, in such a small event, 15 or 20 times, how should they apply for a grant on Polkadot, how they wanted to learn about the OpenGov, they wanted to learn about how things were happening, because they are really, really willing to build on Polkadot. So, like, my final advice to them was, give them a touch of Rust, man. Give them a pinch of Rust, and then things is gonna be gonna awesome. So, I mean, like, because I have experienced this personally, I really believe that 2025 is really an optimistic time for new products to come in.
Yeah. For anybody listening, there is a Polkadot PBA Expo starting soon. Polkadot Blockchain Academy is doing it for anybody that wants to just understand the basics of blockchain. You don't have to be a programmer or a coder. It's just like, what is blockchain? What is, for example, validation, staking, also basic. I would highly recommend. And it's only $100, which is, I understand some parts of the world it might sound a lot, but there's also a grant that you can apply for. So if somebody that cannot afford the $100, there are ways that you can still join the course. So I would highly recommend looking into Polkadot Blockchain Academy. Vivek, what do you think? So as I understand, for your project, you're a decentralized exchange. So do you think you'll ever be able to kind of steal users, or push users away from a centralized exchange and move more into something like Polkadex in the future?
Yes, absolutely. I think if you look at the larger crypto market, there are certain fundamental problems we still haven't solved, which is about how you can actually exchange your asset, in a decentralized manner, especially when it comes to larger, when you consider an environment which is much wider and larger than just the retail, right? Because if you look back, the history of exchanges, starting from 2013, 14, we had the huge MTGOX hack, and then in 2017, again we had another cycle with the NFTs and the ICOs, and all of those again leading to more exchange hacks. And then eventually we came with the Uniswap, and that actually solved a large part of the problem for the retail users to exchange the assets. But still, I think the fundamental ability of the user or the people to hold different crypto assets and then exchange it without having an intermediary is not entirely resolved, because we still have institutions and governments and all of these, like middlemen still controlling a large part of the market, and that still needs to be resolved in the long run, I think. And it is for the good for everyone, and I still believe in a future where we have operators like huge exchanges who allow this, facilitate these transactions, but they have no control on the assets of the users, which means that nobody should be able to just come in one fine day and just freeze your asset for, without asking a question. So those kind of, environment, I think that is actual freedom, and it will be achieved in the long run, and Polkadot will have a big role to play in that. That's what I believe in. And also the infrastructure is really improving. And that's one of the key reasons, again, like everybody said just before the speakers, I think infrastructure is also improved in a big way. All these L1s are good in their own ways, and I think all of them are here to exist. And if there is no proper highways built between these store of values, ultimately these applications cannot scale. But now we have much more reliable solutions coming to the market, and most of them are again decentralized and open, permissionless, so we can all leverage that and try and build better solutions on top of that. And in the long run, I think just like how the derivatives market is picking up right now with the new spot of exchanges, I think the spot will also be much more easier for all categories of users once these layers are able to communicate seamlessly. And yes, yeah, I think we'll have a big role to play there.
Interesting. We're already at the end of our hour. I wish we had it for planned for 2 hours, because we've not even been through a lot of things I want to talk about. But anyway, I'll try to wind up. Richard, so I understand obviously it has been very exciting so far. We had the Web3 grant, and then obviously been regulated by FCA, which is two very bullish things our community looks for in a project. And currently, Excavate has a fundraising equity-based round and Crowdcube, and then you've got a Polymac raise coming in February, I believe. Is there anything, and any closing statement and any exciting things you would like to tell the community? One thing I always get asked is, would Excavate ever be limited to UK, or would you like, once you like UK is like sort of sorted, running in an autopilot, would you ever move to a different region and a different country? So what can Richard tell everybody?
So I'll tackle the geographic one first. Our plan is to always move into different regions. I think the biggest thing we want to do is make sure that we are regulatory compliant in any region we go in. So yes, we will go into new regions. We've got a network within other parts of Europe. We've got a network within Dubai, parts of Asia and Australia. So they're obvious places to go next. And they're relatively similar in regulatory terms to the UK. And I think the fact that we've taken on that sort of obstacle head on, as opposed to some projects that have gone offshore and avoided it, I think that will bode in our favour going forward. So yeah, lots of positivity. I think just remind me of the other question. What was the
fundraising currently on Crowdcube, and then upcoming raise in Polymac, how people can participate and what to look forward to?
Yeah, what we wanted to do was sort of launch with an equity-based raise initially, because we've been bootstrapping this project for a long time, so we wanted to give people opportunity. So it's a bit like if you imagine investing in Parity, and then the Polymac launch, which should be happening in the next couple of months. That will be more about the token itself. So the native token of Excavate in the protocol itself is Xcav token. So that will be another opportunity to build the community and make sure that people can invest in the baseline, the sort of underlying technology behind behind Excavate, excuse me. Can't take the credit for Polkadot, I'm afraid. So yeah, there are lots of good opportunities coming up. We want to develop the community. We want to make sure that we are decentralized over time. So we're building in the governance palette into our launch once the plan is that within 4 weeks we'll be on Polkadot as a parachain as it used to be. Now it's core time. With sort of the basic frame palettes that you can operate a parachain, and then we'll build in our custom palettes over the next few months once we've established the governance palette. So that's sort of the roadmap for the next few months, and then we're planning on launching with our first properties, which are going to be based in the UK. Around about the beginning of Q2. So that's sort of the roadmap. And then maybe the back end of the year, we'll be looking to launch into the next region and then launch into a new region every year after that.
Okay. Just a quick follow-up question. So if somebody owns a tokenized property on Excavate, which is on Polkadot, would that be XCM compatible? Like, would they be able to take that asset away to like another network, or would you always just be on Polkadot?
For the moment, we are focused on Polkadot. But what we would love to do is work with other projects to make the tokens available to other networks. So that's something in our roadmap in terms of partnerships and exploring the easiest way of doing it rather than necessarily having to bring in the ability to run smart contracts on our own chain. I think there's other options.
No, thank you. Gianluigi, is the same thing for you as well. So our fundraising is also coming and Polymex sometime soon. But what's the roadmap looking? What's exciting? You can look forward to.
Sure, I can divide it into two parts here. One is funding side. We will launch equity fund-based a seed raise with some on-in-queue VCs at the moment, and then we will follow up by private sale. We will probably also go with Polymec. It's supposed actually to happen in Q1 of 2025, probably after Excavate. In terms of roadmap, actually it's pretty exciting 2025 because we need to release the project live. So we will be working very hard on that, especially on the audit part, and we will open our platform that now is on testnet to a certain number of our user community, so they will be able to try our product, and we will be able actually to get better and better. Also, we focus very much on the user experience, and we want to make it very close to the user experience that a centralized exchange has. In this, the live version of Calyx probably will see the light in Q2 of 2025, and it's our main focus to include to connect as many chains as possible, because we want to be a cross-chain platform. We want to unify liquidity of different blockchains. So actually, the main problem that we want to solve is decentralized, not decentralized, is a financial where the liquidity is spread in different places. And our actually it's pretty exciting, the fact that after this we will launch a phase 2 of Calyx, and we will focus on as we said, on the integration with traditional finance. Mostly we will work on the fiat lending pools, or also under collateralized loans. So we want to bring something really unique on the market that's still not in the DeFi space. And and we will do everything thanks to Substrate, thanks to Polkadot.
Okay, interesting. And CBS, what about you? So what do you guys have to look forward to in 2025? Anything exciting the community should know?
Right. As I mentioned during the introduction and the first question itself, right? So the first quarter is always, right now it's going to be focused on the fundraising part, which is like the equity based fundraising part that we're doing right now, because the token model doesn't really work best for what the idea that we have now. But moving forward, the the major focus is towards the interoperable loyalty system. While campaigning and things are good, but for a more in-depth insight and understanding, helping users understand about how do they interact with the product, we have created an entire schematics on why the loyalty is a bigger market. So that's what our major focus is. We have been working on the product market fit, and it has been going on well. So yeah, I mean, like the entire 2025, we are planning on building a to-go loyalty, interoperable loyalty platform. So yeah.
Interesting. What about you, Vivek? Any closing statements? What to look forward to?
Yeah, I think our primary focus will be to resolve our bridging issues right now, because we are right now connected with the Polkadot relay chain via our parachain. So we are now moving to going to plan to use code time, or probably Hyperbridge or something like solution similar to that. And we also want to connect to other layer one chains as well, in order to help the liquidity providers to come in. And on that front also, we need certain API solutions which we are currently working on. So those will be some of the major things to fix. And also on the connectivity, wallet connectivity side, I don't think the feedback that we've received from our users is not up to the level that we want. So I think this is generally a problem with the ecosystem, which we need to support more EVM-based wallets. And we may even try to work with some of the existing wallets available to try and see how to make it easy for users to, connect to the system. So yeah, I think finally, I think we are also just like Airlift mentioned, we may also look for an equity-based system, because the things that we have planned may not be very conducive for token-based, raise anymore, because we may need to focus some of the regulatory side as well, because we are trying to cater to the changing regulations in Europe, and there are the regulations are quickly catching up. So we need to be prepared for that. So that would be, those are the the things that we look forward to in 2025. Yes, tackling these problems.
Interesting.
Yep.
I'll hand over to you, Kristen, for any closing statements from you as well.
I'm very looking forward for the 2025, and as Polkadot, we will, as usual, do what we are good at. We are very good at educating community, to transforming the hard tech to the soft words, and for community, they can easily understand. So I think for 2025, as we expecting for the Jam launch, and we will continually, delivering the good content for the community, and for them to catch the point of Jam. And we will still try our best to spread the substrate, Polkadot, Jam, and everything, and hope we can track a lot of attractions to the Polkadot ecosystem. And secondly, I really want to see some fancy projects, like we already got the infrastructure ready, and I really want to see something that special in Polkadot. These apps or applications cannot be realized in other ecosystems. And secondly, I really want to see some memes and AIs, some pop stuff happen in Polkadot ecosystem, to attract more young people. I saw from data that, meme coins brings, most of the meme coins are fresh new people of the crypto industry. They even don't have a MetaMask, and they don't even know so much about Bitcoin, Ethereum, but they know Solana. So I really want to see that if this group of people can be attracted to a Polkadot ecosystem, that's gonna be fun. And that's my expectations.
Interesting. You mentioned about educating the community, so I'm looking forward to having a few articles on Excavate, on Killix Finance, and on Polkadex, on Polka World page in the future.
Sure. Okay, I will arrange that. I will arrange them
Perfect.
in the following weeks. Okay.
Yeah. No, I think that's everything from my side. I mean, we could have gone on longer, but actually we've taken a lot more than the second hour as well. So, but yeah, we should do definitely at this time next year. Hopefully, when we're talking, everybody's sitting there in their fancy, like millionaire outfits, and everybody's made a good success. So, I'm looking forward to that.
Mm-hmm.
That's everything from my side, and thanks everybody for joining as well. This is recorded, so for anybody that couldn't watch live, will be able to catch up on this as well.
Fantastic.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much, Christian, Beckman,
Thank you.
Jian,
Bye,
Richard.
everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Mm,